Today's video dedication is for Whiskey Jack. Cadira versus Oloro, Shorikai, and Florian. Are we going to manage to stick the Sylvan Library for any length of time? We're potentially up against a couple of control players, so I'm just going to assume no, because we're pretty screwed if we don't manage to land that. Straight into a one-lander. Looks like we're going down a card, unfortunately. Okay, two-lander, we've got Toski. Cathar's Crusade is asking a bit too much, I think, so get rid of the Cathar's Crusade and pray that we actually get into some ramp here. Concordant Crossroads, we draw into. Let's just get out of tap land and pass. Alright, managed to get into a landing strip mine, that's really good. Ever-flowing Chalice for Florian, we'll tap for 1 mana. Thought Vessel for Shorikai. Basic land cycling from the Absorb Vis for Oloro. Okay, Welcoming Vampire isn't terrible, so we'll play out the Welcoming Vampire now. And then if we drop a land next turn, we can play the Toski, draw off the Welcoming Vampire, and then draw off the Toski by swinging in with the Vamp. Otherwise, probably just play the Rumour Gatherer. Florian entering play here. Further ramp, it is a Smothering Tithe for the Azorius player. Oloro casting a Basilica Screecher. Okay, not managing to get into a land, that is instead rabble-rousing, so we'll go for the plan of a Rumour Gatherer. Might still be able to make a land. So of course, triggering the Welcoming Vampire, that will trigger once a turn. And still managing to make the land for the turn, that's really good. So seeing as how there's a bunch of mana being made over there, we'll swing in towards Shorikai. Loyal Subordinate now. So Florian is going to have us all lose some life thanks to this thing. Each opponent loses 3 life at the beginning of combat if you control your commander. And also Florian swinging in at Shorikai. And then of course Florian's ability goes on the stack here, looking at the top X cards. And then dropping a land, followed by Thermo Alchemist, 5 cards left in hand. Noteworthy that Shorikai has dropped a Reliquary Tower at some point, so no max hand size over there. And it is Shorikai, Genesis Engine hitting play. Then activating that, drawing 2 cards and discarding 1. So out comes a Pilot token. And they've played a Commander Sphere as well. Takes them into another vehicle, Crew 6, for a 7/11. Now for Oloro, it is Stormscape Master. Seems as though everyone's worried about the Shorikai player making all that mana and dropping permanents all over the place, so the bat swings in here as well. Okay, drawing into a land, that's really good, so I think I'll still go for the Toski. Argument to be made for us starting to make tokens with Rabble Rousing though. If I play the Rabble Rousing, we could trigger the Rumour Gatherer and draw a card here either way. And I suppose we could swing in this direction. I don't think they're going to block with this. Yeah, especially not with the surplus of life, so go Command Tower, play the Rabble Rousing. Priority being held by the blue-white player, but deciding to allow it down, so Hideaway goes on the stack. And it's an Elspeth Sun's Champion, we've got Rite of Harmony. Sylvan Library losing out on some card draw there, unfortunately. Increasing Devotion as well. We'll need to control 10 or more creatures, so not sure here. Maybe just Elspeth Sun's Champion. We can try and wipe the board with that. So now we swing 1 in down the middle, and this one into the Oloro player, hoping that Rumour Gatherer is not blocked. That triggers the Rabble Rousing, and brings in a couple of Citizen tokens, so Welcoming Vampire will draw as a card, and the Rumour Gatherer will scry and then draw. Alright, and that is a Gaia's Cradle. Don't mind drawing into that, so we'll put it on top. And then we get into another land in Savannah as well, so I'll probably hold off on the Gaia's Cradle for as long as possible because I want people to keep worrying about the vehicle player here. So as I thought, the Rumour Gatherer does not get blocked, deals 2 damage to Oloro, and yeah, managed to get some good stuff done there thanks to swinging in with this after the Rabble Rousing. Thermo Alchemist being tapped down, dealing 1 damage to each of us, and then it will be a further 3 damage from the Loyal Subordinate. Not bothering to swing in, Florian will look at the top 4 cards, that must have been, and exiling a Night's Whisper. They didn't exile anything last time, so I'm assuming they whiffed. A Liquimetal Torque now. So along with artifact removal, they can blow up any permanent in play with this. Casting the Night's Whisper takes them up to 7 cards in hand. Noteworthy that that does untap the Thermo Alchemist. Plenty of treasures being made by the Smothering Tithe player though. 1 damage dealt to us all again by the Alchemist. And then it is light up the stage for only 1 mana thanks to Spectacle, exile the top 2 cards. And we see there a Fiery Confluence, which they can't cast, and a Reckless Impulse as well. I assume they were just going after a land there because it's not likely they were going to be able to afford anything that they went for with the Spectacle. And only 4 lands after their turn 5. Kumina's Blessing here, they do have the City's Blessing, so they draw a card at the beginning of their upkeep. They've played a Thran Dynamo as well, that is a Thundering Chariot now, so we'll have to be careful swinging in over there. They've only got 2 cards in hand now at least. Crewing up a Thundering Chariot, and then that swings in over at the Florian player. Could trade their commander with it, but deciding against that, just taking the 3 damage. Deep Analysis for the Esper player now, draw 2. And the Bat once again swinging in at the Vehicle player. Alright, now the decision remains, should we go for the Gaia's Cradle here and potentially draw some hate away from the Vehicle player? Or we could just go for the Toski and draw even more cards. We're going to draw too many cards if we're not careful. Might be too risky, but we could go Concordant Crossroads here and actually start swinging in with our commander straight away. Yeah, so we'll play at Cadira. That gets us a Scry with the Rumour Gatherer. And there we see a Champion of Lamhall is well worth having, especially with the board state we've got at the moment, so we'll keep that on top. And then here we could go Gaia's Cradle, Concordant Crossroads and Toski, which will leave us with 4 cards in hand. We draw 1 here, take us up to 6, and then hitting our opponents as well. Yeah, maybe it's just more intelligent to hold up the Grand Crescendo at this point. So let's throw down the Savannah. Throw out the Concordant Crossroads. This gives all creatures in play haste. That's the risk you run with this one. So we can take the Vamp into the left. Don't think they can crew these in any way, can they? We'll take these in down the middle. And then Cadira can swing in towards the Oloro player. Rabble Rousing gives us 5 tokens here, so we're actually going to have enough for the hideaway. So before any of that goes on the stack, we get to pay for the Elspeth, or play the Elspeth without paying its mana cost. And then it doesn't matter with the Rumour Gatherer. We just draw into the Champion of Lamholt that we know is on there. Another Scry, and that is Scepter of Celebration. That should get us into more tokens if someone manages to wipe the board, so again we'll leave that on top. And then we do of course draw into that with the Welcoming Vampire. Elspeth cares about creatures with power 4 or greater, so not much point minusing her down. Shorikai making a pilot token, so likely that we lose, the Rumour Gatherer here unfortunately, but I think it's worth it in order to get the Elspeth into play. We will manage to take some crew away from them as well, so yeah, if they want to trade us here, it's fine with me. Okay, actually leaving our Rumour Gatherer alone, surprisingly. So wanting to hold on to as many pilots as they can for obvious reasons. So we managed to get all this damage through. That will trigger the Cadira, and we're going to make a bunch of little rabbits. Triggers the Rumour Gatherer a bunch of times again. And that is the artwork for any of you who haven't seen it. A nice little rabbit token for us. That's a Harbinger of Destruction if I've ever seen one. Okay, is a Torrens on top now. Could be good. I think we can get into a better token generator than that though. We've got a lot of scries to come with the Rumour Gatherer. A land can go to the bottom as well. A Kodama's Reach can go to the bottom. A Trailblazer's Boots could be useful. Yeah, I think I'll keep hold of the Trailblazer's Boots. Oh, why don't... Oh, that's so annoying. I don't have a stop on my main phase here. Yep, should have plussed on the Elspeth there. But didn't get to, annoyingly, because for some weird reason didn't have a stop on my own main phase. Anyway, Thermo Alchemist going to trigger at the end step. Thermo Alchemist activating during the draw step as well. And Loyal Subordinate will have us all lose 3. We do potentially have a Fiery Confluence that's going to be cast as well. So the 3-1 with Menace goes straight through to Oloro. They exiled a land with Florian, so getting into that 5th land that they wanted. Mana's been a bit of a struggle for the Rakdos player. Casting a Reckless Impulse will untap their Thermo Alchemist. This time exiling an Arcane Signet and a Gutter Snipe. Liquimetal Torque making the Smothering Tithe an artifact in addition to its other types. So maybe going for the Fiery Confluence here. They can deal 1 damage to each creature a couple of times and destroy an artifact maybe. 1 damage to each opponent from this, so they are about to cast an instant or sorcery, I imagine. Okay, so casting the Fiery Confluence, they are destroying a couple of artifacts, and I assume it's 1 damage to each creature. Thermo Alchemist getting untapped. They're going after the commander. So in response, we've held up Grand Crescendo for this exact reason. So all of our stuff gaining indestructible there. Doesn't matter how much damage is dealt to our creatures, they will not die thanks to that, of course. The artifacts are successfully blown up though. Still got 10 treasures even though the Smothering Tithe has gone down. Kumina's Awakening triggers at the upkeep, so they'll draw an additional card here, going up to 5 in hand. Shorikai coming back into play. Still not sure if they've got a board wipe for us. Making a pilot with that straight away, so we'll assume that we're in the clear for this turn. Could still see Cyclonic Rift or something like that. Discarding a Thopter Spy Network. Then a Demolition Stomper is a vehicle. Crew 5, a 10/7, can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. That might be relevant against us. And then it is a Vigilance creature. Crew 1, a 4/3, so I don't think they can quite get this thing crewed up yet. All the creatures do have haste, don't forget. And then it is a Renegade Freighter. Crew 2, they can crew that, and that has 4 power. Alright, going through to the beginning of combat, so it's too late to crew anything up. The Elspeth being left alone, thankfully. So time to see if Oloro has a board wipe for us. Deep Analysis being flashed back, and the Extort goes on the stack. Looks like they are going to pay for that. So they jump back up to 30. This player goes down to 12. We are at 22. So should be able to take out the vehicle player next turn. And then it's a Blind Obedience. That's relevant with Massed Haste on the battlefield. Artifacts and creatures coming in tapped. That does mean that we can't throw as many things into the red zone as we'd like. Okay, Elspeth being ignored again. The bat goes in at the vehicle player. So it's round to our turn. We draw into the useful Trailblazer's Boots, so definitely drop in the guy's cradle here. We'll try and do as much damage as possible. We'll play the Champion of Lamholt first of all. That comes down. Welcoming Vampire, we'll draw as a card with that, and we'll get a Scry with the Rumour Gatherer. And it is a Mana Crypt. I think we can do better than a Mana Crypt, so I'll put that on the bottom. Okay, and it is a Jolriel, so I can buff all our creatures with that. Yeah, that's probably the thing to do here, I would have thought. So play out the Jolriel. That will buff the Champion of Lamholt, making our stuff more unblockable. Draw into a land with the Rumour Gatherer. We'll certainly play out the Fire Shrieker for our commander. That comes in tap, but it doesn't matter. Put that on the Cadira. And then just in case any shenanigans go on, we'll throw the Trailblazer's Boots on her as well. All of our opponents control a non-basic land. Then we can also go for the Scepter of Celebration. That is going to deal more damage and create a whole bunch of citizen tokens. Just really trying to make it as difficult for my opponents as possible at this point. So unfortunately, holding the Toski in hand, we're not going to refill our hand this turn, which maybe I should have done that as opposed to the Scepter of Celebration. Oh, and actually, completely like an idiot, totally forgot about activating the Jolriel. Yeah, I'm mainly focused on getting rid of this player if I can, which we can do with this, so might have had our opponents last longer than they should be doing here. So this block of creatures goes down the middle, and then I'll hold back some citizens, hold back some rabbits, and this block of creatures going in at the left. Rabble Rousing will trigger, and pretty much makes all of our stuff unblockable, I would have thought, thanks to the Champion of Lamholt. So we get a bunch of Champion of Lamholt triggers. All of these come in tapped thanks to the Blind Obedience, annoyingly, otherwise I could have been much more aggressive. Although I could have played this turn a lot better, because as soon as I threw down the Jolriel, I got distracted by trying to get rid of the vehicles player. Right, a Teferi's Protection we have no means of drawing into, I don't think, which is a shame because we've got the mana held up for it. I'll just leave it on top. Noteworthy that I would have had the Teferi's Protection in hand if I'd got down the Toski like I should have done. This is the absolute best time that we could have during this game to refill our hand, I think. So, yeah, playing it greedily with this probably wasn't the best idea, but get to see what Scepter of Celebration's like at least. Might be that the game crashes regardless, thanks to all the tokens that are going to come into play. So, strike number 1 from Scepter of Celebration. Oh, and actually, should have put Cadira on the stack first. Yeah, should have put that on the stack first, but I don't think it really matters at this point. We're getting a bajillion tokens regardless. Clients already getting sluggish and starting to struggle on us. Oh, of course, and that puts a bunch more Rumour Gatherers and Champion of Lamholtz on the stack. Can't just skip over Rumour Gatherer and tell the client that we want to leave it on top regardless. I'd love the Rakdos player to play a Rakdos Charm at this point. That'd be a great way to go out. Well, massive props to my opponent. They stuck it out through all of that, so managing to get rid of the vehicles player. And, yeah, thanks to my greed of playing the Scepter of Celebration, actually giving at least one of my opponents an extra turn here, which could be the downfall for us. Alright, so the Oloro players decided to scoop after all that, which can't really blame him because this was, big mistake on my part. The double strike damage plus all the tokens being made, putting a bunch of triggers on the stack from the Rumour Gatherer is taking forever and a day, so yeah, I've really goofed up on this turn, and the client might crash here. The Rakdos player is playing it out though, which makes me think that he does have either a board wipe or Rakdos Charm. So after literally about 10 minutes, we end up with a bunch of tokens. The Champion of Lamholtz is a 99.99, and yeah, we just have to do some stuff with Elspeth, and I think we pass the turn here. Test our opponent on this Rakdos Charm. So the Rakdos player remaining vigilant. They do go for the Thermo Alchemist at the end of our turn, managing to stay awake through all that. 1 damage to us again with the Thermo Alchemist. Playing the Arcane Signet, playing the Gutter Snipe from exile as well. And then it is a Price of Progress. Twice damage equal to the number of non-basic lands. Is that enough? It might be. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14, not quite. 16, 17, 18, maybe be able to get us with a lightning bolt or something. I'll probably have edited something on screen by now, but definitely, I mean, totally forgot about the Joriel. Our opponent goes for the Thermo Alchemist again. Yeah, definitely should have got rid of the Rakdos player. Probably could have got rid of the vehicle player as well at the same time. It's difficult for me to work out now, but I'll be able to look at it during the edit and see what I should have done. Should have, in hindsight, got down the Toski as well, because now we'd have a Teferi's Protection in our midst. All they need here is a 1 mana instant or sorcery with the Florian, so we'll see what they exile. Exile's a land off the top, so maybe there's a 2 mana instant or sorcery you can go for. Allowing us through to our turn though. So we'll just turn all these tokens in sideways and hope that that does it. Letting us draw into the Teferi's Protection, so yeah, I'm assuming that this is going to do it for us. Yeah, I won't even activate the Elspeth, let's just turn in sideways. Taking up enough of my opponent's time. Alright, and they did have it, excellent. What a way to lose. They've got us either way here, because if we go for Teferi's Protection now, then yeah, in hindsight, maybe should have gone for the Elspeth before anything else, because then we could have triggered some card draw, maybe got rid of the Gutter Snipe, but yeah, either way, they've got us here because they've had us lose so much life. So I'll tap down the Guy's Cradle in response. That taps down for 119 mana, and we'll go for the Teferi's Protection here. So it's going to have to be some kind of instant that they get themselves into. Oh, they did it during the beginning of combat step. Alright, so we can't get down the Toski or the Chromatic Lantern here. Oh well, don't think it's really going to matter. Playing a Prosper Tomebound with 6 cards in hand. Exiling the top card of their library at the end step with the Prosper. That is just a land. Bodes well for us. They've got 5 cards left in hand. Surely they can cast some kind of instant on us. So 1 damage to us with the Thermo Alchemist. Doing it during the upkeep this time, not allowing us to draw into the Teferis. Alright, and there we go. A go for the throat will do it, so doesn't matter what it's destroying, it is triggering the Gutter Snipe. And we get taken down to 0 life. So let's just quickly see what we would have drawn into if I'd gone for the Elspeth. Would have scryed 3 times, so it would have got rid of these lands. Generous Gift could have got rid of the Gutter Snipe, so that could have helped us. We'll assume we drew into that. And then just a land after that from the Vampire. So yeah, maybe could have survived. What would we have drawn this turn? Yeah, just another land. So wasn't looking hopeful really. The massive mistake was me concentrating too much on the vehicles player and completely forgetting about the Jolriel as soon as I played it. But it was a cool game regardless. Don't mind nearly losing to a Rakdos Charm and all of these tokens. Got to see the type of thing Cadira can do with her bunny army, so if you want to see more from this one, I'll try and play much better next time. Let me know what you all think of it in the comments section. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.